Hello, welcome to the IGN UK podcast. My name is Stuart Reed and I have Christopher Tilley to the left of me.
Hello.
And I have Luke Carmarley to the right of me.
Hello.
Hello, both of you lovely boys. How's your week's been?
Well, mine's been fine. I got back from holiday and then I went to an event and just been doing that, really.
You look very tanned.
Thank you, I am.
Yeah. I saw some of your photos on Facebook from your holiday.
I know, right? Exciting times.
Yeah, it looked very nice and hot
and
sunny.
I went to Gran Canaria, so it was very nice. And, very nice time. Back, relaxed, recharged, ready to do things. What did you do over Easter, Stuart?
I've been to Aberystwyth.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Land of my fathers.
Not quite Gran Canaria.
Not quite.
But, charming in its own way. Mm. Yeah, it's okay. It was warm, it was pleasant.
Yeah.
A lot of people about. And I celebrated Record Store Day 2014 in Aberystwyth.
What's Record Store Day 2014?
It's for nerds like me that love vinyl records.
Oh.
And it's a day when all across the world, limited edition records are released and you have to queue up. And if you're lucky, you'll get your hands on some.
So what, like old records that were made or of new things?
New things and old things. A smorgasbord of different bits and pieces. For instance, there was a limited edition Paul Weller single. There were like 400 copies of that pressed, so people were clamouring for that. But on the flip side, there was a 7-inch repressing from Fleetwood Mac from 1971.
Oh, wow.
So it's all sorts of interesting stuff in weird...
Did you buy anything?
Bought loads of stuff. Went down to, if you're familiar with Aberystwyth, and God knows why wouldn't you be, there's a shop there called Andy's Records, which is one of the finest record emporium, certainly in mid-Wales.
Yes,
if not the rest of the country. And it was lovely. Me and my darling partner Michelle, we got down there just after 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday with some bacon sandwiches and a flask of coffee. Queued up, and we weren't even first in the queue. We were third in the queue.
Wow.
First bloke in front of us, he was after the Paul Weller single. Uh-huh. And there was a young girl in front of us. She was no more than about 13, 14. She was queuing up because there was a One Direction limited edition picture disc being released.
You say this, I remember reading a piece this weekend about the fact that some albums, like Christina Aguilera's Back to Basic album on vinyl, sold so poorly, shocker, it now is worth something like £500. Because no one buys them.
Because no one bought it, because it's such a crap album.
Well, there's that.
So are you going to sell your copy of it, or are you going to...
Oh, no, it's a collector's edition. I couldn't possibly. No, it's on my wall.
So, we bought some interesting stuff, and it was great. Met some really nice people down there, and it was a really wonderful time. A splendid time was guaranteed for all.
Very good.
Yeah. So that was my Easter. What about you, Chris?
Nothing. I went to Exmouth. Yeah. Very pleasant. Nothing funny. Nothing.
What were you
of
doing
interest.
down there?
Delivering a dog.
As in, kind of giving birth to a dog, or as in a kind of... or as in, just taking it somewhere?
A dog midwife.
A dog
Chris
midwife.
Tilley's new weekend
dog
retreat.
midwifery.
I'm taking my girlfriend's dog to her parents' house.
What?
To stay for 3 weeks, because it can't stay in her house because it's getting scared of the drilling next door.
Now, which part of this story intrigues you most? Because I know which part intrigues me most.
I couldn't possibly comment.
Chris Tilley's girlfriend.
Let's not talk about that on the podcast. That's not podcast material.
That did make me think. Well, we've got something to discuss over lunch. Very good.
All right then.
Yeah, nice dog.
Hey.
No, Jasper. Jasper's the dog that we took down.
Good.
Oh no.
Odd name
I
for
hope
a
she
woman.
doesn't listen to this.
Dig yourself out of that one.
Yeah.
Lots to come on this week's podcast. I'm saying that. There isn't really.
There isn't really that much.
We've lashed this together in just a few minutes.
It's not our fault. It's been a quiet week. There's sod all happening in the world.
Because this is obviously the main Easter week for a lot of people going on holiday, which is where Alex and Cooper are.
Yes, if you're wondering where their dulcet tones are, they're both away. I think Alex is celebrating his daughter's 4th birthday.
And also going glamping near Oxford. And he hates the word glamping.
I hate the word glamping as well, as somebody that is a committed camper.
Yeah. No, he's a committed glamper. He
How
told me...
How long have you been camp?
Well, how long would you say, Luke?
Well, since that podcast. But yeah, no, he told me very proudly that his tent has a toilet inside.
Well, that's not a tent.
Well, but I'm assuming most do. Just obviously this one possibly has plumbing. Just go in the corner otherwise.
Or it's a hole in the ground with some leaves.
There you go.
And isn't Dan in Vegas?
He is, yeah.
He is, yeah. Him and the delightful Bex May from Ask Men have gone to Vegas.
I should text him my numbers for Vegas that always come in.
You got connections?
Your connection.
No, I just know 3 numbers that always come in.
What, in roulette things and stuff?
What are they?
I don't know if I should give them out on air again. Like, these are my secret numbers.
Okay.
Do they always do really well?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's ridiculous.
I'm excited.
8, 10, 23. Moving on.
10, 23. All right. Let's crack on with some news. Luke, you got first bit.
I do, yes. So earlier this week, I went to see a next-gen RPG called Lords of the Fallen from... it's a guy who worked on the first 2 Witcher games. And so it's Resolution Gate again. We know how much we love those stories.
Oh,
so
barely an hour goes by.
Pretty much. So anyway, I spoke to the executive producer called Tomasz Gope. So he's Polish.
Either that or he fell asleep on his keyboard.
That possibly happened. Yeah. And he said, we definitely won't be below 30 frames per second, but if we have to choose between resolution or frame rate, we'd probably go full HD 1080p and have a stable, rock-solid 30 frames per second, rather than try to lower the resolution and push it to 60 frames per second. Because we believe the game looks pretty good, so we'd rather have a decent resolution to show it off. Does that hold together for you?
Yeah, I guess it does.
And then the next thing he said, we're working very hard right now to deliver PS4 and Xbox One in 1080p, but I can't confirm whether it's possible. It's probably easier for me to confirm it'll happen on PS4, because it appears on this one we're almost nailing it and are pretty much there. For Xbox One, though, it's slightly tougher, and we're still working on it, so I can't confirm that yet.
Oh, dear.
Yes. It seems to be a recurring theme, but I'm kind of wondering if maybe it's to do with I think it's probably just getting used to it. Like, if you remember the PS3 start of last gen, everyone struggled, and then once they understood how powerful and how to use it, the core processor was, it became a lot easier. I don't really know enough about technology. So.
Well, I thought it was all to do with the way the memory is divided up on these machines.
Yeah, isn't it unified in the PS4 and it's split in the Xbox One?
So you can grab as much as you want from the PS4 and use that for your lovely, sexy graphics, and it's a lot trickier to do that with the Xbox One.
And I think the point people are making is that when you have limited development time and you're doing, multi-plat versions, why would you you can't afford to spend the extra time polishing the Xbox One. You just have to do the best you can, as opposed to games that are exclusive to the platform. And also I think it's easier to port from, something else he said was it's easier to port from PC, almost a direct port to PS4, whereas you have to kind of have a bit of a fiddle with the memory on the Xbox One.
Oh yeah.
Yes. But I'm assuming it's one of these things that over the course of this generation will balance itself. But do you think it's right that, they seem to be putting resolution above frame rate? Does that make sense?
Oh, it's so tricky. I think a lot depends on the type of game you're playing. When you consider, Chris, that we're still watching films at 24 frames a second.
Unless you're watching The Hobbit in high frame rate.
Oh, yes. But I sometimes wonder if there'd almost be a call for certain types of games to be slowed down to 24 frames a second to give you a more filmic look rather than anything else, rather than trying to get extra frames per second.
Like Heavy Rain or something like that.
Something akin to that, yeah. You could maybe see that happening.
Going completely off topic for a second, because we'd talk about films. I watched Gravity.
Did you watch Gravity at home?
At home, yeah.
Did you watch it on, what size was your TV?
55-inch.
55-inch. Did you watch it in 3D?
No.
Then any comment you have to make is therefore null and void.
Well, this is exactly the point I was going to make, because you remember Alex has always said, oh yeah, I'm going to watch it when it comes out at home.
Yeah.
I can see that it's a very beautiful film, but it's a film that's made to be experienced in, I think, IMAX ideally, but 3D, because Jesus Christ, the story, by the end of it, I was just like, I love Sandra Bullock as much as the next human being, but stop delivering tearful monologues.
Bear in mind, I am actually the next human being.
Oh, you don't care for Sandra Bullock?
No, but if you love Sandra Bullock as much as the next human being, I am the next human being, and therefore you love her as much as you love me.
Right, okay.
That makes sense.
It does, and I would say that's probably an accurate comment.
Speed was on the telly last night, talking to Sandra Bullock.
You mean you did a line off your set?
Yes. Very difficult. They're so thin these days.
I know, right?
But it's one of those films, Chris. I found myself just you flick over, you start watching it, and you just, that's it. You're stuck for the whole night, and you've got to finish watching it. I love movies like that. No matter whereabouts you start watching them, you're just going to be nailed onto it.
I'm like that with The Human Centipede. You just can't.
It's going to be nailed onto it.
I didn't click on it, but I thought I saw an article today, someone popped up on Facebook. I think there's a guy in America trying to collect every video copy of Speed in the world.
What?
Yeah.
What, VHS?
Yeah.
Just to own a wall of Speed?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I need to look into this. I might have made that up.
Well,
I just thought,
if not, somebody get on that.
I was going to say, if he hasn't started doing it, maybe we should start doing it.
That could be our thing.
That could be our thing.
We're always looking for a thing.
Well, can't we pick another film if that's his thing?
What can we do? What film would be really good to have every single VHS copy?
Wild Wild West.
Ha!
just to take them out of circulation as much as anything.
Yeah,
Why
that's a good
not? Why not? We could maybe get the Laserdisc as well.
What about Memphis Belle?
Yeah, that would be good. There can only be about 8 copies of that left in circulation. Do you know what Memphis Belle is?
Haven't got a clue. Just laughing to feel part of something. I often do.
I've got a friend who always says that's his favourite film in that conversation, because it's not his favourite film. He just thinks it's such a weird choice.
Just a conversation starter.
It wouldn't be anybody's favourite film.
No,
would it?
that's why he picks it.
God.
Wow.
It's all right. Harry Connick Jr., Matthew Modine.
Oh,
Anyway, sorry, we got way off topic there.
Yeah, so that's my fault. So yes, anyway, 1080p.
It was more interesting what we've just said than Luke's story.
Yeah, and so I'm glad I went to that event and managed to get that original news story. It doesn't at all feel like a waste of my time now.
Oh, no.
What else you got? Movie news from you, Chris?
Yeah, Fox have picked up the rights to Flash Gordon. That's pretty much the story. They've got a couple of writers on board, J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay, but I don't know how good they are because they're writing the upcoming Star Trek 3.
Oh.
So they obviously know their sci-fi, or someone thinks they know their sci-fi. But yeah, do we need a new Flash Gordon?
Aren't we having a TV series with Flash Gordon?
Not that I know of. There was one about 10 years ago.
Was there?
I swear, a guy called Grant Gustin who was in Glee,
Oh no,
has been cast.
Do you know what's happened here?
Oh.
You've got the Flash confused with Flash Gordon.
Oh, are they different things?
Yeah. Oh,
That's embarrassing,
It
isn't
is, yeah.
That's a sackable offence.
Well, not really, because comics aren't really my thing. I write about games.
So the Flash is...
Take me back to Resolutions. I know about Resolutions.
The Flash is a guy who runs really fast.
Yes, because I played Injustice and he was in Injustice.
Mm-hmm. And Flash Gordon is like kind of Indiana Jones in space kind of thing.
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking that Brian Blessed once was involved in
Yes.
some
Yeah,
way?
he was,
Oh,
yes.
okay, so yes, no, now I know what we're talking
In
about.
the 1980s version of Flash
But this is the thing, so
Gordon.
it's before my time, right?
God, 1980s is before his
Yeah,
time.
before your time.
Well, yeah, I'm 89, so...
You're 89, you look awfully well on it.
Thank you.
So you should watch Flash Gordon. It's a terrifically strange and brilliant film.
Yeah.
And I think
It's quite homoerotic.
I'm fairly sure...
Yeah.
And didn't the actor from that appear in Ted or something?
Yes.
Yeah,
he did,
okay,
Sam
now
Jones.
now
Sam
I'm...
Jones. He's appeared in nothing else, has he?
No,
he
didn't it
was
ruin
an
his
American
career?
footballer, wasn't he?
He was.
Yeah.
He was. He's done about 100 straight to DVD movies.
Has he?
He's a B movie actor. I've got lots of Flash Gordon stories
This is
because
all coming back to
I
it.
interviewed them all. Sam Jones sadly destroyed his career pretty much on Flash Gordon. He was supposed to be the next big thing.
Mark Hamill.
He was cast in the movie straight from kind of his football days.
Yeah.
And then 3/4 of the way through the shoot, his agent told him to demand more money or threaten to leave, and so he did. And Dina De Laurentiis, the producer, said, "Thanks for your time, goodbye." And so, if you watch the film, there's quite a few scenes where it's his back to camera and it's someone else.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
I did a phone interview with him and I didn't recognise his voice. And he said, "I bet you're wondering why my voice is different." I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, they dubbed my voice for the whole film. He's got a really deep voice in real life, and the character in the movie doesn't." And yeah, he just said, "I took bad advice. I got greedy, and I was kind of blacklisted for years in Hollywood."
Oh.
That's so sad. But,
He was really sad down the line to me, and it was like 25 years on. This was.
Well, if it's ruined his career and all he sees are the opportunities that never were,
Yeah.
you are going to be pretty pissed.
And
about
especially when, it's just your likeness in this thing, but they didn't even use your voice.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
wow.
Not his hair. He's got dark hair in real life.
Oh, God.
But yeah, I think there's room for a new Flash Gordon.
that. Yeah, I wouldn't see why not. And while they're at it, I would actually quite like a new Hawk the Slayer. Mm-hmm. Because I think that's a film that could do with having slightly more money thrown at it. And
Yeah.
have you ever watched Hawk the Slayer?
Not since I was a kid.
Is that anything
Yeah.
to do with Kez?
Brilliant.
No.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
Some of the special effects in Hawk the Slayer are quite remarkable. There's a lot of silly string used in it, I seem to remember.
Right.
Yeah, which is kind of this. You know what silly string is, right? It's
I
in
know
a
what silly
can,
string is, yeah. I know, but I don't know what the
in
Hawk
this
the
movie,
Slayer
in this
is.
Hawk the Slayer thing, it's kind of used to bind people and to make sure they can't move. And you're sat there, and it's quite clearly luminous silly string, so it doesn't really work. But Hawk the Slayer's a funny old movie. It's Jack Palance's in it, and
Yeah.
all sorts of strange people from the 70s and 80s. And I can't even really think what the story's about now. It's kind of Conan-ish, isn't it?
I can't remember.
Is it? I can't remember. I wish I'd thought this through a bit more before I mentioned Hawk the Slayer.
Well, speaking of birds, isn't the Raven meant to be... isn't the Raven a thing that was meant to happen with Luke Evans?
The Crow.
That wasn't
Luke,
even-
seriously, Luke, you can't be on this podcast anymore if you're going to keep doing things like this.
Can I claim that was deliberate? Okay, that was deliberate. There was another...
Yeah, they're remaking The Crow with Luke Evans.
Yeah.
Who
Of
came in
Hobbit
the office
fame.
the other day. Yeah, of Hobbit fame. But yeah, that's entirely unconnected as well. So
Well done.
let's move on to the next
Great.
bit of news.
Where will we
Okay.
go from this one?
Well, it's about Netflix. So if you want to watch Hawk the Slayer or Flash Gordon, you might watch it on Netflix. Tenuous link.
Yeah.
They are going to up the price of their streaming service by between $1 and $2 next month. That is going to happen within the next kind of few weeks, and that's going to be for people that are new to the service and only in the US at the moment. They did this in Ireland, where it didn't really seem to affect things too much. Not many people suddenly said, hang on, I'm not paying extra for this. They've kept with it. However, if you think that you're going to get away with not having to pay any more, the letter that they sent out to investors said existing members will stay at current pricing for a generous time period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll hit you all at some stage.
At some stage, yeah. But you know what? I mean, what do we pay over here for Netflix? Is it $6.99 a month?
Something like that, yeah.
That's ridiculously cheap for what you get.
Yeah, until you travel to America and see how much they get and realise actually we're being ripped off a bit. I went through all the horror the other day and I'd seen almost all of them, and then I go to America and there's 5-6 times the amount of horror on there, and it's like I want that library, not this library.
Yeah.
I guess that's a rights issue, is it? Because obviously, when a movie is made, normally what happens is one company will own the rights to show it in the US and America and places like that, and another country will get European rights, and maybe another company will get rights to show it.
And they were quite late to the party over here, weren't they? So I wonder if Love Film have snapped up a lot of...
You mean Amazon Prime?
Amazon Prime, sorry. The exclusivity on a lot of these titles initially. I don't know, I'm just speculating, but...
Because there's a lot of crossover between what was Love Film and what is Netflix. I don't know if you've noticed that, but like they both seem to feature all the Disney cartoons and stuff like that. I mean, I'm quite happy with Netflix over here.
Yeah.
I also like the original programming they're doing. I mean, the House of Cards was absolutely fantastic.
Oh, yeah. So for me, I think it's worth it for the original programming. But I don't know. We have actually been chatting about cancelling our Netflix subscription.
Really?
Just because there's not... I mean, we quite like comedy, so there's some stand-ups we watch, but they don't really refresh it that often, and it's always quite old and obscure comedians. Not to say that that's bad, because you do find quite a few gems that way, but I don't know. The TV series as well on there... Nothing that really kind of grabs me. Or nothing that I haven't seen, because a lot of it I kind of saw when I was younger.
Sure.
So I don't know, really. And I completely agree. When you look at the US library, we made the mistake of looking up online just to see what they've got, and there's so much good stuff on the US one that we don't get in Europe.
Well, there are ways of getting the US library in Europe if you can be bothered mucking about with it.
And also if you can be bothered to create an American PlayStation Network account, I believe, you can also then... use
Well, it doesn't
that.
have to be on your PlayStation, does it?
No.
If you've got one of them, they're smart TVs.
Yes, or Apple TV, or
Other devices are probably
Other
I
available.
might have to do that. I mean, I'm just using it for TV, really. Yeah, that's. I don't watch many films. It's just the odd obscure horror film that I haven't seen from the 80s that I want to see.
Sure.
But it's mainly catching up on a lot of the TV.
Well, we've realised now at home, we virtually never watch live television anymore.
No.
Everything is either pre-recorded from Sky Plus, or we watch something on
The
Netflix.
only thing to watch live is something that is live. So sport or
election results.
Yeah, it's
Trial
the news. There's not much. I'm not watching anything that isn't happening live.
No. But what's funny is you probably would end up watching, if it's a big thing like Game of Thrones, for instance, you want to try and watch that the night it's released.
Yeah,
because
but to avoid
otherwise
spoilers,
there's the whole water cooler thing, and you are going to find that there's spoilers.
But again,
and stuff like
we watch it, and we just kind of switch off Twitter and what have you. But we delay it half an hour anyway, so we can just whiz through the breaks.
that. So you got Netflix, but you've also got Sky, right?
I've got Netflix and I have Sky Plus, so yes, I can record. And other than that, I also obviously have PlayStation, so all the iPlayer stuff. Because I guess that links into BBC Three potentially only going digital.
Yeah.
So yeah, stuff like that.
Well, we're the same. We've got just a TV feed, and we had Netflix for quite a while, and we still got Netflix, but because of the return of Game of Thrones and because of Mad Men starting again as well, I actually thought, you know what, I'm going to get Sky put back in, and we got a good deal on getting Sky. So once again, we're like you, I think, with Netflix, Sky Plus, and iPlayer.
Yeah.
What about you, Chris?
Yeah. I'm those three as well.
Yeah.
I've only ever, I think, bought a film on iTunes once.
Just to test it.
That was to impress a girl I was dating.
Yeah.
Really?
She'd produced the film.
Very good.
So I thought I'd show like goodwilling by saying, I downloaded the film. And she broke up with me.
Right.
It was that bad film, eh? Like, wow.
But yeah, so yeah, Sky Plus. Yeah, Sky I'm using for, obviously I watch all my sport on there. But also, yeah, Mad Men and...
So you're spending the thick end for Sky then? If you're
probably
watching
too much. Like, I should
something.
drop the TV channels.
I think we're
But then when
paying
you've
too
got the
much.
sport and the other stuff, the way they...
They do it, it's not worth your while dropping anything
No,
else.
may as
Because
well keep the
Well,
film.
'cause the thing is, we don't have the movie channels. We're still getting charged a lot, but we also have them doing broadband and stuff like that.
Sure.
But we don't have the movie channels, and actually, I think the movie channels are something that are quite worthwhile because they do seem to come out quite reasonably quickly
I
after.
think they're within
it's not a
12 or
big
18
delay.
months, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I the movie channels are the one thing that I miss. I mean, to be honest with Sky, it's mainly, as you say, Game of Thrones, and also I just have Sky News on in the morning when I'm getting ready for
Yeah.
work, and in the evening when I come home and cooking dinner, just because keep up with the events of the world.
I've dipped my toe. What's good about Sky, I think, is the catch-up service on it. It is really good. So
Yeah.
as a result of that, we've watched all of Modern Family, which I think is a really good comedy. We've dipped our toes into Hannibal, which I'm 3 episodes in and I'm still unsure about it. I don't know if you've seen any of it. No, not your cup of tea.
I debated watching it, but I can't remember why I decided not. I think I had quite a lot on.
It's scary and violent. You don't like scary and violent.
I think that might have been it.
Yeah.
I remember, I think I was going to watch it, and then I realised exactly what it was about, and I was like,
It's pretty gruesome.
not for me.
And Girls I've been watching as well.
I want to watch
Lena
Girls.
Dunham's Girls, I think, is remarkably good.
Yeah.
Almost too close to the bone and too truthful.
Yeah.
It is quite difficult to watch sometimes. Quite painful.
Real life.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about this Amazon Love Film then? So Love Film is now Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Anyone using that, what would be the point of using that service?
Well, they have catch-up. They have box sets on there that aren't available on Netflix, right? And I'm
Yeah.
assuming they've got stuff on there that's not available on Sky either. So that would be the point of that. But the thing is, you could end up, if you've got Netflix and you've got Amazon Prime, you're looking at spending 20-odd quid a month, aren't you, just to get those two services? I'm also a subscriber to Spotify as well for a tenner a month.
Yeah, me too.
Hang on, and that's £10 a month for music. But you're getting all this TV through Netflix for 6 quid a month.
I don't subscribe to Spotify. I
Do you
just
not?
no.
You put up with the adverts?
Yeah, I put up with the adverts, or other than that, I just make YouTube playlists.
That's how the kids do it.
Wow, I didn't know that was a thing.
How the kids do
Well,
it.
no, I just make YouTube playlists. So then when I'm at work, crack open my browser and just hit play and just don't have to think about it.
Wow.
I know.
I miss the days when there were 4 channels. I bet you miss the days when there were 3.
I distinctly remember Channel 4 launching. Getting very excited about the launch of a 4th television channel.
I read Jennifer Saunders' autobiography on holiday, and she talked about the fact that the comedy strip played on launch
the
night.
comic strip, not the comedy strip. The comic strip. Luke.
I'm just on fire today. I'm still in holiday mode. Leave me alone.
Yeah, that would have been 5 Go Mad in Dorset, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
The early
Yeah.
comic strip
Yeah.
episodes, which were absolutely terrific.
And
they've-
Brookie.
Yeah. Good old Sheila and Bobby Grant.
Yeah, I don't really remember the first night. What year was it? It was
82.
82, yeah. I was
1982.
I was 4.
I was 12.
I was not born.
You
I was
brilliant.
not here.
All right, so that's the news. Let us know what you think about 1080p versus 720p. Do we actually want people to write in about what they think the difference?
I think we've done it to death, really. You know.
But see if you want games brought out at 24 frames a second. That'll be interesting.
That'd be-
Let us know about that.
And also what you think about, obviously, Netflix and stuff. Because
Yeah.
there's other ones. There's Blinkbox, Now TV. And I can't remember which one it was. The one that Tesco does.
Blinkbox.
Didn't they get Game of Thrones Season 3 a lot earlier than everything else?
Is it?
Yeah, because I remember loads of adverts in the tubes then being like, you want to watch Game of Thrones Season 3?
And why isn't Hulu here?
Yeah, I don't get
Yeah.
that. Because we also get a lot of, when our US counterparts write stories and embed Hulu videos. And you're just like, thanks.
Yeah.
And
But
also
that's
it's-
annoying on YouTube as well.
and MTV do it as well.
This video has been blocked in your country on copyright grounds.
Yeah.
Come on. Got to sort this out.
I know.
We just want to be one big melting pot.
We do.
Yeah.
Sexy, sexy melting pot.
Let us know what you think about the new Flash Gordon movie being made as well, and if there's any of those cool but slightly crappy sci-fi movies from the 1980s that you think could do with a reboot. The email address is IGN_UK feedback@IGN.com.
Catchy.
We will move on to this week's FU, and the first bit is from Chris McFarlane, who says, "Stop spoiling TV shows. I haven't seen the last season of Breaking Bad. Place a warning from now on for spoilers." Fuck's sake, he says. Fuck's sake.
Who
didn't do that?
I don't know. It must have been last week or possibly the week before. So Chris and anybody else
we're good at that
wants to be spoiler-free, I would skip forward the podcast now for probably the next 10 minutes or so.
Really?
Yes. Because almost all of this week's reader feedback is about shocking moments in television that we covered last week and other people's shocking moments. So, with that in mind, I would say, give it 10 minutes and then rejoin us 10 minutes along in the podcast.
I mean, we'll say the show as well beforehand.
Okay, let's do that.
Because otherwise everyone will be scrolling through because they don't know what TV shows we're going to spoil.
That's a good point, yeah.
So we will be saying...
You've cut out our entire listener.
That's all right, because we can call them all massive dickheads now and nobody will be listening.
How dare you? I do not endorse that statement.
Okay.
So, here we are. Thomas Brunt, so this is spoilery, for Battlestar Galactica, the Ron Moore's one.
I started watching. I've watched some of this, and I haven't gotten too far through it. I want to go back one day. So you're going to spoil stuff for me now.
Do you want to put your hands in your ears?
It is full of... Nah, it's fine. I'll deal with it.
So the season 1 finale, he says... Boom.
Actually, yeah, I'm going to...
Okay, he says, Boomer in the CIC pulls a gun on Commander Adama and puts 2 bullets in his chest. Did not see that coming at all. Right. And then the other one, also Duala committing suicide in a later season, completely out of the blue. So sorry if I said those names wrong. Tilly still got his fingers in his ear.
I could kind of hear that, which is annoying. Battlestar Galactica is kind of well known for some of the twists and turns that happen in that.
Well, one of the ones that got me was Buffy. Does anyone watch Buffy?
No, but I kind of feel I ought to go back and watch it for some reason.
Well, it's really good. So Joss Whedon has said this for years. Joss Whedon being the twisted individual that he is. He wanted to basically have someone debut in the credits in the episode that they died. So there'd be a recurring guest star or like main cast, but not actually make it in the opening credits. And then the first time they change the credits and introduce them, you're like, wow, they finally made it. And at the end of that episode, boom, dead.
That's funny.
And so he did that in an episode of Buffy. And so potential spoiler here, it's Willow's girlfriend Tara. She's been in this show for I think 2 seasons now, and this is like towards the end of the 6th season, and you put in the credits and they're like, oh wow, she's really made it, great, awesome. And then and at the very end she gets a bullet through her chest and just dies in Willow's arms, and you're just like, wow, what just happened? Like it's insane. So that's how you really make it doubly shocking. And also, what a twisted individual is Joss Whedon.
Is Buffy good then? Is it worth
I
watching?
really like it. It's very, very good up to the end of season 5. Really was where it was meant to end, I think, and they basically got picked up again, and so they did a couple of Deus Ex Machina things that they probably shouldn't have done, brought it back, and the 6th and 7th seasons go a little bit silly. But and it's continuing now in comic book form, which is again...
I got burnt by Buffy because I went to see the movie.
Oh dear.
Which is one of Joss Whedon's first things, I think.
And because he was a script editor, right? So he edited Toy Story and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I went to see it because it sounded like a cool, fun premise. It had a stupid, fun title. And it was like a really interesting cast. It was Luke Perry, and I used to watch Beverly Hills 90210. This was supposed to launch his film career. Rutger Hauer and Paul Rubens, who's Pee Wee Herman, and this hot chick in the lead, Christy Swanson. And I thought, this sounds like a really fun film. And then it was bloody awful. Yeah. So I didn't watch the TV series for quite a while, even though people were telling me it's good.
It's very good.
Yeah.
I think it's probably worth seeing if you haven't, because it's like Friends, whether you like it or you hate it, it's had a big influence on popular culture and the way people speak and things like that. It's another one of those big culture drivers, I think.
Cool. I've got an email from David Binmore who says, in reference to something we talked about a couple of weeks ago, my first complete sticker book was the 1990 Teenage Mutant Hero Turtle book. Sorry, I nearly said ninja. But also completed the TMNT coin collection.
Cool.
So that's pretty awesome.
I've just started my daughter off on her first Panini sticker collection this week as well.
Yeah, Brazil World Cup's coming up.
Absolutely. Disney Junior. There's a Panini sticker collection for Disney Junior.
I think Power Rangers was mine.
Right.
Yeah. The dream.
Still got it?
Probably somewhere. But it's like when you're hunting that last bloody sticker and you're just kind of constantly buying all these packs, it's like double.
Did you? I mean, on the rare occasions I did these sticker packs, I only ever used to buy about 3 packs and kind of gave up after that. And so I'd have like one sticker on a page.
No, like whenever my mum kind of went shopping or what have you, like there'd be one pack or like something like that, or like done well at school, you get another pack, and it's like exciting. But now I kind of get that buzz from Hearthstone, which is a bit loserish.
Bloody hell. David hasn't finished. He says, I also found Breaking Bad, Walking Dead and Game of Thrones some of the most memorable and shocking TV thinking back. But when I thought about TV as a kid, the only moment that sticks out was the final scene in Blackadder Goes Forth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very moving.
Very sad.
And you've obviously seen the story behind that when they shot it originally, and it was just awful. They hated it. They left terrible. It really... Yeah, it looked terrible, and then they obviously slapped it. They slowed it down and added all these things and the poppies.
Yeah.
And yeah, good.
Oh, that was a terrific ending.
Look at me telling you about LTV.
Yeah. It's never going to happen again.
No.
Maybe that's a subject for a future discussion, is best TV endings.
Yeah, good idea.
Buffy would not make that list. So, Marty Kings says, on the question of most memorable and shocking TV, pound for pound, Game of Thrones has the most right from the first episode.
So massive Game of Thrones spoilers coming up.
Yeah. So the first episode, when Jaime Lannister pushes Bran Stark out of the castle tower window after getting caught shagging Cersei, who is his sister. That's a big one.
Yeah.
And then obviously the other one he mentions is the Red Wedding,
which I haven't seen yet.
So I'm not going to...
Everyone knows the Red Wedding.
Wedding. So we'll just describe it. I managed to keep the Red Wedding and what happened in it from my flatmate for a year.
That's impressive.
Well, to be honest, and I'm on all the social network and I work here, I don't know what happens in it. I just know it's big and bloody.
Well, do you remember the Metro, right? The day after post that thing. Also, we got a very naughty email from a PR. This was it last week? So
yes. Did we mention this on the podcast?
I think we did.
Yeah, I think we might have talked about it.
Okay, right, yeah. Something to do with the Purple Wedding, which is...
That's right.
Yeah.
George R. R. Martin, not the best wedding planner there is.
Not really, no. I wonder if he just sits there and he just thinks, who can I piss off by killing off this week?
But there's so many more coming as well, which is awful. Like, when you play the Game of Thrones, you die, or you die. It's like, that's pretty much it. So anyway,
I've got an email from John Mallinson. This features kind of a Spooks spoiler. So if you're a big Spooks fan, scroll through the next 30 seconds.
Kind of always wanted to get into Spooks and never did.
Although he's kept it vague, which is how I like to do my spoilers. He says, one of the most shocking moments I can remember from a TV series came from an early series of the BBC's Spooks. In the scene, a central female character meets her demise when a burly man in rubber gloves deep fries her hand and then her head.
I remember that.
Yes.
I did see. I watched it with my dad. My dad was
absolutely shocking.
John adds proper grim.
Yeah, it was really horrific.
I remember that, and my dad was like, "Yeah, you go to bed now." I was like,
"What now? After it's happened? Oh, great!
Thanks, Dad."
Yeah, when was this last week?
Yay.
Simon Baldwin's written in his most shocking memorable moment is in Dexter season 4/5. I can't remember which season it is. I think it was season 4. When Dexter comes home from one of his kills and realises that Rita came back from their honeymoon to pick something up. And he goes into the bathroom and finds a shocking discovery.
Spoiler alert.
Simon Baldwin actually says, I suddenly started crying out of the blue because he felt so bad for Dexter. And he goes on to ask, have you ever watched a TV show series and one of the characters have died and because you're so connected to the individual it's made you cry?
What, when a character died in a TV show?
Yeah.
Another spoiler.
We'll say what the show is.
Yeah, Buffy.
Okay.
So, spoiler for Buffy. When Tara died, who was the one who put the credits, I think I cried. I also cried when Buffy died.
What? That's quite a spoiler, isn't it?
Well, there you go, at the end of season 5.
I see. Right, okay.
Hence where that was the natural endpoint. And they then had to pull a lot of strings to kind of bring her back. I think that's probably actually it for me.
Okay. I find since being a dad, though, I cry at everything.
Yeah. I
find it easy to cry at stuff now all the time.
I cry at Finding Nemo when there's that bit where they're all going to go get his dad and stuff. Well, he's going to find the son and they pass the message along like his dad's come to get him. Cry at that bit, cry at a lot of things.
Helen Daniels' death.
Who's that?
Neighbours.
Good
one. Yeah.
Sorry.
It's fine.
I got sad when... it's a Sopranos spoilers.
Do it.
Spoiler. And it's weird, but I got sad when Christopher died. When Tony killed Christopher. And Christopher's missus.
Yeah.
Even though these were horrible people. I still got sad.
I got
attached to them.
I think the Red Wedding, we've talked about it a lot. Yeah. But I'd read the books, I knew what was coming, and when we finally got around to watching it, I was like, right, here we go. And I literally felt sick at the end of it, because there's a few changes from the books. Certain people die who don't die in the books. And I felt quite nauseous, and I couldn't really sleep afterwards.
It was that shocking, wasn't it? It was really horrific.
It was very horrific.
I need to watch this.
Things that made me sad, I think the end of Ashes to Ashes, actually, the very last episode of Ashes to Ashes, because I'd followed these characters from Life on Mars and all the way through Ashes to Ashes. And Ashes to Ashes, I don't think it started off particularly strongly, but I think it was 3 seasons altogether, and the last 2 seasons were much, much better than the first season. And it was really sad when all these characters kind of finally said their goodbyes, and you know there's no way they're coming back. So, yeah, that would be one for me.
One more, the last one for me, is in Buffy again.
Wow.
There's an episode again, I think it's in season 5, called The Body, which is about, she comes home, and again, spoiler, and her mother's died. And she died of a brain tumour, and she's just dead on the sofa. And it's an astonishing episode. I think it's one of the best. And the first opening shot is 10 minutes long, all shot in one take, with Sarah Michelle Gellar just kind of throwing up, trying to deal with it, trying to do CPR, and it's very, very, it's got a very big
I'm going to
impact.
go watch Buffy, because it sounds like it could be.
We're not going to need to by this podcast, because Luke will have actually described every episode.
It's amazing. Yeah. It's my favourite show. So
really, you don't say.
One last thing from Simon Baldwin. He wants to know, have you ever been to Leeds in Yorkshire?
Where my flatmate's from.
Yes.
Have you, though?
You're not answering the question, Luke.
No, I'm doing a Pistorius. You're not answering my question. Mr. Pistorius, today is the strangest day. You just can't accept responsibility for anything, can you? So, yeah.
Luke.
Been having a lovely time.
Yeah, I've been to Leeds. I went to Union York.
Oh.
Went to Leeds. Went to Planet Earth, the nightclub.
Right.
I believe that had a spinning dance floor.
Did it?
Yeah.
Roller disco heaven.
They were a thing.
Really?
Back in the 90s.
Vaguely nauseous.
You go to cities and they'd have nightclubs where the middle of the dance floor would spin round.
That's quite exciting.
Sorry.
That's fine.
Okay, I have an email.
Yeah.
Who is it from? Aidan Doran. It says, hello IGN team. I would like to know if you've ever enjoyed a TV series but not the ending of it. It's kind of what we were going to say we'd talk about in another podcast.
Yeah, it is really.
I watched the end of Breaking Bad quite recently and felt that it was lackluster. I accept that Walt had to die, but the way... Breaking Bad, spoiler alert. But the way he left Jesse was not good fan service. The whole series shows us the development of Walt and Jesse's relationship. The last episode makes you feel they were enemies all along as Jesse tries to make himself kill Walt in the end.
Dexter.
I've heard that.
Boy, oh boy, does that TV show tail off.
I've still never watched the final season. I've gone all that way, and I just can't be
really
bothered.
I've
bother
heard that
me.
about...
No, I can't be arsed with it.
It should have ended with the Lithgow season.
Definitely. It would have been a brilliant place to end it.
Yeah.
And they could have maybe brought it back a few years later, because it would have still been relatively fresh. But no, they just really, really, really trampled that into the ground.
Bit of a weird one, this one. But Scrubs, they kind of tried to keep it going a couple of years after, kind of hand on the baton. And no, should have gone out when Zach Braff went out. That's a bit of a weird one, but I mean, have any actually got it right? Are there any you're happy with? On the flip side of that, I quite like Friends. I have to say, I know you hate Friends, right?
Yeah.
But I think the way Friends went out was quite good.
Well, Blackadder was a good example.
Blackadder's
I can't think of the top of my head. There's loads I didn't like and loads I did like.
Right.
I feel like I've been put on the spot. I disagree. I like the end of Breaking Bad, and funny enough, I watched it again 2 days ago because my flatmate watched it all the last couple of months. I thought it was a really good ending. I mean, Aidan says makes you feel like they were enemies all along. I don't think it does. There were times when they were friends, but I mean that had gone a long time before the end of the season. The two of them.
I think what was good is that it was brave enough not to have this big reconciliation between them.
No, they had their moment. That look between the two of them. But it's a shame it didn't satisfy you, Aidan. I wonder what you thought of the Sopranos finale. If you saw that,
right? Our time for spoilers is up.
Yes.
No more spoilers now, because we've had 10 minutes worth of spoilers, and we promised people that they could come back in after 10 minutes.
I feel like Luke is going to spoil something from Buffy any minute again.
No, I'm done.
Okay.
I've said all there is to say.
We'll see.
All right.
For now. Okay, so Paul Hope is asking about age. So, is Stuart the oldest man at IGN? Is he the oldest man in the world? All kidding aside, I've always considered gaming to be something for spring chickens as opposed to granddads. How old is the oldest gamer you know?
Why would you consider gaming to be something for young people?
Oh, Stu's getting annoyed now.
No.
I'm curious because you wouldn't say, well, I'm only going to go to the cinema if I'm under 40, or I'm only going to listen to music if I'm under 40.
It's because of the way society has treated it.
And I think also a lot of...
Nice.
But I think because when it started, it was all these, newfangled thing for kids. But what a lot of people don't realise is they've now grown up with games.
Yeah.
Well, this is it. It's such a young form of entertainment, isn't it? That we're still learning about who's going to play it and...
Absolutely.
And I think the way it also sometimes appears to pitch the lowest common denominator, like, COD and what have you.
Yeah, I've always... there have always been things, entertainment things in my life. Two things that happened. When I was 6, my parents bought me a little tiny plastic film projector, which took standard 8 films, about 50-foot reels, which lasted about 2 minutes. And so you'd have things like Tweety Pie and Top Cat and stuff like that. And I spent many a happy day just kind of threading these films through this little crappy plastic projector, which was powered by a torch battery, which goes to show how primitive this thing was. And then when I was 11, so a few years later, I got a ZX81. I badgered my parents because I wanted a computer, because I'd heard about these amazing computers. And they got me a ZX81, which was this tiny, tiny black box, didn't have a real keyboard. It had this kind of like a flat cardboard surface with a printout of where the keys would be, and you just had to touch the surface and it would work like that. And that was fascinating. It came with this huge spiral-bound book full of programs and stuff for you to type in and stuff like that. So I guess that's where I started from, 11 years old, with the ZX81, and then going on to getting an Acorn Electron and playing Chucky Egg and things like that, and a Spectrum and playing games on the Spectrum, and then getting a Mega Drive. So, gaming has always been part of my life, ever since I was a young child, ever since I was before I was a teenager. I would say I'm not as much of a gamer now as I have been in the past, but that's just because as you get older, there are more things to do, and there's less time to do it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel the same. I don't play games as much as I used to.
Right.
Just I don't really have the time.
But maybe when you're an old person, you've got nothing else to do.
I'm 25 this year. That's pretty old. Okay.
You are knocking on.
Yeah.
Apart from pee your pants in the nursing home you're staying in, maybe you'll go back to playing more games.
Why not? If it keeps your brain sharp, then why not? I know a few years back there were a lot of reports on the news about how Nintendo Wiis were being used in a lot of nursing homes because it was helping people get up and do a bit of exercise and keeping their brain sharp. Yeah,
it's great.
So maybe that is the future. Who knows? But thanks. No, you can be any age and play a video game. If there is anybody listening to the podcast that is older than me at the tender age of 44, I would like them to write in, and I would like them to tell us when and where they started.
I swear we've had someone before who's written in who's like 60 or something, who's like, they play a game. And also there's obviously Gamer Gran and things like that.
Yep.
But yeah.
Okay. Last bit of feedback this week. And this is from Rob Porter. Just letting you know you're a bunch of bitches. I watched Frozen at the weekend, mainly based on insert name of the IGN guys who kept saying it's one of the best Disney movies ever recommendations. It was quite possibly the girliest Disney/Pixar movie I've ever seen, and clearly written for 12-year-old girls. I would say next time keep your opinions to yourself, but that kind of defies the point of your podcast. So, I'm not quite sure how to end this now. Cheers, Rob.
Well, that's fine apart from calling us bitches.
Yeah.
I think that's a bit harsh.
But having said that, the entire email is written in Comic Sans.
My point exactly, Luke Kamali.
Not really going to take it that seriously.
Therefore, Rob Porter, your email
we
is...
may be bitches, but we don't write
for
things in Comic Sans.
I thought Frozen was a bit girly.
Nothing wrong with
I
a
don't
bit
think
girly.
that's a derogatory term, but...
No.
It was a bit... The songs were a bit too Broadway tune-ish for me. It reminded me a lot of Wicked.
Wicked's vague. I very much like Wicked, though.
Yeah, and I wasn't a huge fan of Wicked.
There you go.
But I've got female friends who loved it.
Yeah.
I like bits of Frozen, but I didn't like it as much as my colleagues. But I've never had a chance to say that.
There you go. I haven't seen it yet. I think I'm planning to watch it this weekend.
The Frozen backlash starts here.
No, but it is now, I believe, the biggest animated film of all time.
Absolutely.
I
think it's the 6th most successful film of all time now.
Our opinion doesn't really... Well, mine doesn't really matter.
And also, Let It Go remains in the iTunes top 10.
That is a tune. That's a tune. That was the only song I really liked.
Well, you didn't like Love is an Open Door?
Not really.
I duet that with Polly all the time.
Really?
Yeah, she loves it.
Do you want to build a snowman? Not really.
That's Krupa's favourite.
Is it?
Yeah, that's his favourite bit.
I need to watch this so I can have an opinion.
You do.
Yeah.
That's it. Keep your emails coming in, please, because we do like to hear from you. IGN_UK feedback at IGN.com is the email address.
I'm guessing we're going to get a lot of emails from people saying that Lost annoyed them, the ending of Lost.
Yes.
I don't know what-
That
Yeah,
seems
why
like an
did I-
obvious one.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to put that in before
Yeah,
we
let's-
we
yeah.
didn't say Lost.
That's a good point, actually. Remember, do let us know if which TV shows you feel petered out or the ending of which annoyed you.
Yeah, I think that would be a good talking point.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
idea. We better look at what is coming out this week in the films and the movies.
Films and the games?
Films and the movies and the games.
Good.
I am old.
Do you want to do movies or
I can do movies,
Right.
as I am the movie editor.
do it?
And I would say 2 films are out this week that people might or might not want to see. One of them's called The Other Woman, and I haven't seen it.
Oh.
And we haven't got a review on the site for it yet.
Good.
Oh.
But I
not
guess
been-
we were handling out the States. I'm sure they've seen it. Maybe they've just not got around to reviewing it yet. There's probably one up this week. Cameron Diaz, Leslie Mann, and Kate Upton, who's this very famous supermodel. And I'm not really sure when this happened, but she's very famous now, apparently. I think our colleagues at Ask Men seem to do stuff on her. She's pretty, in a very kind of blonde way. A bit like Cameron Diaz and Leslie Mann, actually.
I feel there was rumours that she was the GTA 5 girl.
Oh, is that right?
Or did she sue?
No, I don't think she sued.
That was Lindsay Lohan.
Lindsay Lohan and someone else sued, but I feel that she was... it's never been officially confirmed who was the model, but I think it was very clearly her.
Okay.
Right. You know what? I've seen the trailers and we've done some interviews on the site. It looked a bit like the First Wives Club, but for younger, hotter women. But I think Leslie Mann is a woman who's married and finds out that her husband's having an affair with Cameron Diaz, and it sends her a bit crazy, and she goes and tracks the woman down. And then Cameron Diaz doesn't know that the boyfriend was married, I don't think, and then finds out that he's also having an affair with Kate Upton, who's younger and better looking than she is. And so it's like they're all having the same thing happen to them, and it's about the 3 of them getting their revenge.
Where does he
on the
find the
husband.
time?
I know.
It sounds very generic.
Clearly doesn't have a job.
Yeah, I've
Or
watched.
he has one of those Hollywood jobs.
Yeah.
You know, where you don't actually really have to do anything.
No.
It was a movie where it felt like the jokes were in the trailer. It really did
okay.
to me, and they weren't even that good. Lots of physical comedy from Cameron Diaz. Although she's quite good at that.
Yeah.
The other movie out this week is Transcendence.
Ooh.
Or The Lawnmower Man, as I like to call it, if you've watched any of the trailers.
Zing. Yeah.
And I haven't seen it. They were being a bit funny about screening it for critics over here. We saw it in the States. Gave it a 6.3. Said that it aims high, but the story fails to fulfil the promise of the premise. It's Johnny Depp becoming a computer, basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's him, like, going into becoming a machine, going to computer, taking over the world. It's like Tron, Lawnmower Man.
Can't be bothered. Isn't this Johnny Depp's 4th flop in a row, I'm led to believe?
Is that right?
Yeah, apparently so.
Blooming heck.
That's not good, is it?
Better crack on with Pirates 5.
He made about 15 good films in a row and then has made 15 pretty cruddy films in a row for me. Or I might be getting the numbers wrong, but I feel like there was a turning point and there's not been a lot of good stuff.
Where do you think that was? Was it like Alice in Wonderland wasn't brilliant? I think it
was after the first Pirates.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
I still like that version of the film.
Really?
What? Yeah, I really do.
But I'd just like to see him going back and acting rather than playing larger-than-life characters.
Yes,
Back. I mean,
become a
Ed Wood was
caricature,
larger than life, but like back when he was doing Gilbert Grape and Dead Man and all these really interesting films.
And you know, he's at an age now where he should be doing that kind of thing. I think he's, what, 50?
Yeah,
50, and I think I'd like to see him take off the wigs and the makeup and all the stupidness and, like you say, do something a bit more interesting as an actor. Maybe it will happen, we don't know.
So, well, how about the games, Luke?
Quite quiet on games this week. So Octodad has finally arrived on PS4.
Right, okay.
So that's been out on PC for a while, but it came out, I believe, on Tuesday.
Is it worth playing?
It's quite nice. I mean, everyone was kind of taken aback by the novelty of it when it first was demonstrated. And I think it's fine. It's a fine kind of puzzle-ish game. But, you know, if you've got something else to play, maybe it's worth hanging on for next month when Watch Dogs is arriving. Trials Fusion is now available on PC, so that's kind of been on the other consoles for a while.
I'm itching to play a bit more Trials Fusion.
Yeah, well, that's our lunch sorted. And then the last one that is new is a game called Demon's Gaze, which is for Vita. And is
that about homosexual demons?
I made that joke earlier.
Did you?
Yeah, really good. So anyway, it's got a 7.6 from us, I believe, and we said that it's it's very much made on a budget, and you can tell there's some bits that are quite clunky, but it's weirdly addictive and quite Moorish. So, if you're looking for something to play on the move on your Vita, you could do a lot worse.
All right. That's it from this week's podcast, I believe. We have nothing else to talk about.
No, we're done.
Nout.
From Chris Tilley, from Luke Kamali, from myself, Stuart Reed, thank you for listening. We'll see you back here next week then, yeah?
Yeah.
Indeed.
All right.
Farewell.
See you.
Bye.